passing team in all of sports is America's team. That's why it's the most valuable team in the world. And my Dallas Cowboys are at it again today.
Yeah, they're at it again, but you ain't happy about the news.
I am not happy about it, but they are at it.
No, unfortunately, when the Cowboys are in the news, that's not always a good sign for us. And that is where we begin. Dak Prescott continues his rehab as the preseason rolls on. The Cowboys quarterback threw for the second straight day and said he will get another MRI when the team returns to Dallas. He also said the plan is to play in the Cowboys' third preseason game against the Texans. Stephen Jones, well, he isn't too concerned about if his franchise QB gets any preseason reps or not, telling reporters, quote, "I know people worry about that, but I think that's overrated." So, Shannon, what is going on here?
Skip, here's the thing. They fought so hard because the players were trying to cut the preseason out. The NFL owners fought so hard. We need preseason. Now it's overrated.
Ah, good point.
Okay, Skip, but here's the thing. I just want to know, and we had this conversation yesterday after we watched Hard Knocks. I think it was Tuesday night.
Yep.
Why is Stephen Jones talking about this? This is Mike McCarthy's area of expertise. He's supposed to say who will or will not, or how much they will or will not play in the preseason. Not the VP, not the CEO of the team.
Can you say puppet coach?
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's head coach in name only. Because here's the thing. He has no say in the final 53. He has no say in the draft.
No.
He has no say in free agency. So the only thing he is the head coach. I'm the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, but I don't do jack nothing.
Well, he has to say when he gets to deliver a motivational speech, and Shannon Sharp says, I don't want to play for that guy.
That was nothing. So for me, I don't get, and I can just take it from me, Skip. The reason why I felt preseason was important, if I didn't make the playoffs, Skip, and even if I did, I'm going to not play a game for 7 whole months. I was a rhythm. I was a cadence. Get my breathing down. Get my timing down.
Got it.
So I'm just going to go into the game. So you want Dak Prescott to just go in the game against JPP, Shaq Barrett, and Ndamukong Suh, Vita Veda, those linebackers, Levante David, and that monster in the middle. So that's what you want him to go against. With nothing in the last 11 months. Because remember, Skip, he got hurt the 1st of October. So it's going to almost be 11 months. So you say, Dak, you good. Go on in there and face that. That secondary. And I saw him throwing that ball, Skip. I saw him throwing it. That was soft toss again. Now, that was with a football, but that was soft toss.
Yep.
You can't play a regular season game with throwing the ball like that. And before I turn it over to you, if everything's okay, why is Dak getting another MRI?
Good question.
Normally, if everything's okay, the doctor don't say, well, go get another MRI. After you've already had an MRI and you're progressing as well, because they say he's going to miss a couple of days. If I'm not mistaken, he missed somewhere between 7 and 10 days. And now, oh, he's progressing just fine. But we're going to get an MRI just in case of what? Did he feel some discomfort? Is it not progressing as well as you? Because I know what you're trying to do, Cowboys, because the Cowboys released this. This is not some source says Dak can get another MRI. They released it because they're trying to get ahead of the story, because if the source released it, they're going to cause alarm. So what they're trying to do is to calm it down. We're going to put it out to let you know we're not concerned about it. But you are concerned. I can assure you, anytime someone gets an MRI, there's a level of concern. You just don't order MRI. Doctors just don't order MRIs if everything's okay. I think you and the Cowboy faithful are starting to become very alarmed.
Mr. Sharp, for once, you have me backed into a Cowboy corner. Because I cannot disagree with one word you just uttered from your Hall of Fame lips. Okay, let's start from the start.
Okay.
Let's start with my man, Dak Prescott, who I said yesterday can be so guarded and so evasive in interviews. Yet yesterday he did an interview in which he divulged. He was the source of this. I'm going to have another MRI when we get back to Frisco or to Dallas, right?
Correct.
When we go home, which will be after this Friday night's game, which is at Arizona. They're on their way home, so it would be Monday back in the Dallas area. He would get yet another MRI.
Okay.
This is the same Dak Prescott who in episode 1 of Hard Knocks, you saw it, He bragged about how he kept his second surgery from the media.
Right.
We didn't even let that get out.
Right.
That he needed a second one that caused a little wishbone of a scar because he's got 2 slits, right? Leading into one.
Right.
Because they had to go back in a second time to, I don't know, clean it up a little more. It wasn't healing. I don't know exactly what happened, what went wrong, but it wasn't a good thing that he needed a second surgery when already he had a career-threatening ankle injury, to your point, that has kept him away from football for far, far too long, especially when you play the key position in the sport, which is called quarterback.
Correct.
So it comes from Dak's lips yesterday that sends out the 5-alarm fire that hits the internet like, uh-oh, he needs another MRI. Now, I could argue that this is just part of the recovery process. You could argue, and you could make the case that, okay, you need one more, which is a 3D soft tissue picture, just so you could go in there and make sure that the either torn lat muscle or strained lat muscle is on the mend or maybe 100% completely recovered, just so you know for sure what the pathology is under the surface when you take away the guesswork, right?
Okay.
But it strikes me as strange that he divulged this yesterday, because it smacks of a Kawhi or Michael Thomas situation where they went to their own doctors to try to heal themselves because they weren't quite in tune with what the team doctors were telling them.
Okay.
So is Dak sort of going rogue here and saying, I've decided I need to get another MRI because I'm not completely comfortable with the way this is feeling at this point?
Exactly, because you told me it was going to be a couple of days. Here I am, 7 to 10 days.
Right.
And even now, I still don't feel that I can throw the ball like I would need to.
Because, as you said, we keep seeing daily video, but he's soft tossing.
Yes.
Because in Hard Knocks, when we saw the opening of camp, when he's throwing it in the buckets, you know, the 3 buckets that are up there.
Yeah, in the net,
He was throwing rockets.
Thank you.
And it looked like vintage, like better than ever.
Right.
And obviously he is so just, his whole body is aching to get back on the field because he is a gamer. He is a baller.
Right.
That's what he does for a living. That's his genetic code.
Right.
He balls out. And he will, obviously, when you get $75 million this year and you beat Jerry Jones and took him to the bank and the cleaners, don't you want to back it up immediately and show your team? You told me you want to show the Ravens, I'm good.
I'm what you purchased.
Yes, that's what you paid for. Okay, so we have all that leading to the Stephen Jones quote. And I'm so with you about preseason, and I get it. There's some players, some veteran players who need little to no preseason, and you can argue that a Zeke, you just want to protect him.
Right.
You might even argue a couple of those offensive linemen, Ty or Lyle Collins or maybe Zach Martin, that they need a few reps, but not a whole lot of reps.
Skip, we're not saying play Dak the entire game, but let him get a series or two to get his rhythm back.
Okay, so allow me to make this point. Who is the greatest quarterback who ever played? Well, I think we finally agreed that it's that 44-year-old who is now running arguably the best offense in pro football for arguably the best team in pro football. And I think you've even seen the light. You think they're the best team, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what does Tom Brady do in the preseason? What has he done for, if you just look back over the last 5 or 6 preseasons, what is his MO in the preseason? He plays football.
Yeah, he's always played.
He just plays. I look back at his, excuse me, his last 5 years in New England.
Right.
Was this Belichick or Brady? In this case, I believe it's Tom just saying, hey, I need reps.
Right.
He averaged playing a full game in the preseason where he would take 2 games and play the whole first half.
Right.
Now, you got to play your starters if you're going to play your quarterback.
You definitely got to play your starting offensive line.
That's what I'm saying.
If you get back up receivers, but you got to have your starting line.
Think about this. From ages 37 to 42, his last 5 years in New England, he averaged playing a half and a half, 2 preseason games for 5 straight years, from 37 to 42.
Right.
And the key one was 2018, the last time New England won the Super Bowl when they beat the Rams, remember, in what was a hard game to watch, but they got there, right? They got there and won the game. In that preseason, Tom Brady played in 2 games and played the entire first half, and I'm just going to give you the numbers just quickly just to show you how much he was playing football. He was against Philly in week 2. He was 19 of 26 with 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. So he threw 26 passes. And then they went to Carolina. And I watched this whole first half because I was in awe. He was still in the game up to halftime. That's a long time for your starter to play, right? He was getting knocked around in that game, and it was getting dicey and dangerous. And he threw 18 passes in the first half.
Right.
Why does he do that? Why does the greatest quarterback ever play that much in the preseason? Because he knows